if you come for the king, you better not miss. And the Eagles defense didn't miss at all. They hit him early and they hit him often. And kudos to Nick Sirianni. Whatever paycheck you're about to get, you've earned it. Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and on today's Top Shelf Tuesday edition, we recap the big game. In segment one, we give our thoughts and analysis on this whooping that took place and commenced. In segment two, we talk about the MVP award as well as the Hall of Fame awards. And in segment three, we recap the season, best, worst, and most exciting of the season. Joining me today, and it seems that we started this year talking about the Eagles and they got to get their locker room right. Well, George, I think they had some counseling. So what do you think, man? Give me your initial thoughts on the big game, man.
Well, let me start off by saying that as you see, I'm the only one with the stones to show up for this glorious podcast we're doing this evening. So, that's number one. Number two, things that you learn. The Chiefs are still elite. I think that the situation with the Chiefs is they have uh, used tricks and band-aids and stuff to keep their offensive line together. And that got exposed by an elite defense tonight, especially elite defensive line. Um, Philly, we have been talking all year about Philly and how good they look and how many athletes they got and how talented they were. And it was all on show for us tonight. Um, Jalen Hurts played out of his mind. I have to say that now you have to include Jalen Hurts in that conversation when you're talking about uh, that upper echelon of quarterbacks in the league right now. He knows how to win. He doesn't put his team in bad situations. He makes the right play when need be, and he keeps them in good situations, and he closes the door when necessary. So that's what you saw. We went into this the last episode. We talked leading into the game, and we said that the Eagles were more talented than Kansas City, and it showed up tonight. Like we always say, at some point in time, you got better athletes. The better athletes going to show up, and this is exactly what happened.
Yeah. And one of the things you've said all year, and rightfully so, if you come for the king, you better not miss. And the Eagles defense didn't miss at all. They hit him early and they hit him often. And kudos to Nick Sirianni. Whatever paycheck you're about to get, you've earned it. Kudos to Jalen Hurts, much maligned throughout his career. And you're a college guy too, George. The guy who got benched at halftime at Alabama, I remember in the chat, I started talking about dancing with the girl you brought to the prom, and you said Saban's got guts, and it takes guts to make a move like that, but that kid's going to be all right. That kid was all right in college. That kid gets a job in the pros, and this is well deserved. And kudos to Saquon Barkley. The running back position has been devalued. It is still devalued. He's only making about 12 million, and he's taking a lot of shots. But man, this is a team that earned it in true Philly fashion.
Yeah.
Kansas City, I don't know if you got it, but you got to do something. What do you think Kansas City should do? Big Red said he's coming back for one more, but I don't know,
Well,
man. Everybody's old now.
no. Well, what I would say, like first, let me get back to Philly real quick. Um, we last week when we were talking about the preview, I said that we were going to have to find out the big thing on this was going to be the big thing key to this game was going to be finding out if if Jalen Hurts and Philly could win a game from the pocket, because Saquon would not be the focus like he had been all through the playoffs. And Jalen Hurts proved it. He can win from the pocket because Saquon did little of it, much of nothing. I mean, he had a little something, but most of the game he was bottled up, and I knew Kansas City would gear themselves to bottle him up. Um, but Jalen Hurts, with his legs and his arm, did what he needed to do and got it taken care of. I give him that. Kansas City, I think, needs to go back and whatever money they have or to spend, they need linemen. They got to get linemen because this reminds me so much of the year they lost to Tampa Bay. They weren't ever really in that game. Pat Mahomes willed them close, being even close to that game, but he got beat up. That line was terrible. And again, we're back again where their line was subpar, and it killed them. And the other place they need to go is get some receivers. I don't think you blow this team up. This team still has the makings and the metal to be a championship team. The defense is terrific. The defense played their ass off tonight. Problem was they were out there all night long because there was no sustaining the drive. Because every time Pat Mahomes took a snap, there was a green jersey in his face or bumping him from one side to the other.
And Mahomes gave him 14 points.
Well,
so the defense bottled up. Saquon gave up a couple of big plays.
Yeah, and
I agree with you.
Even on the 14 points, one of the interceptions he threw, he got his own lineman got knocked into him when he was trying to throw the ball. So, it is what it is. It's one of those games that as a coach, I just take the tape and throw it away and don't even show it or make it fodder for next year.
Been there and done that. Absolutely.
We didn't play well today. They were ready and it was their day and they did, oh, my hat's off. Just still, Jalen Hurts, you got it, man. I mean, everybody knew what Saquon was about. Everybody kind of had an idea what that defense was about, even though you probably didn't think it was going to come up the way it did. But hats off to Jalen Hurts, man. He did what he needed to do. He's going to be MVP. He's MVP. He did the thing.
And for once, one of my promos actually came true. All right. So in segment 2, Alex Brown, friend of the show, will join us for the rest of it and talk about MVP, Hall of Fame, best and worst. We'll do all of that. We'll get right back to you on the iCoaches Podcast. This is Dr. Keith Adams, president of the CKA Save Project and author of Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. This book is your key to unlocking the secrets of being a successful student athlete. Drawing from my 30-year career as a teacher and coach, this instructional guide offers a unique perspective on achieving success in both academics and athletics. With over 15 personal stories and insightful antidotes, Finding the Balance is a must-read for student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators. Visit www.ckasaveproject.org to get your copy and start finding the balance today. Welcome back to the iCoaches Podcast in segment 2. What say you? In the biggest surprise of the NFL honor ceremony, Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen overcame all odds, it seemed, to defeat Lamar Jackson and win the NFL's Most Valuable Player award. Allen is the first player in 21 seasons to win MVP without being selected first team All-Pro. Since the MVP was handed out in 1957, the only other players to win the award despite not being named first team All-Pro were John Elway in 1987, when Joe Montana was first team All-Pro, and the late great Titans quarterback Steve McNair in 2003 over Peyton Manning. George, in your opinion, did they get it right?
No, they didn't get it right. That award should have gone to Lamar Jackson, but what we had is a case of voter fatigue. Lamar's already won 2. They made Allen the poster boy the entire year for the NFL. They looked at him as he's the savior, the better, the counter to the Pat Mahomes, and they basically gave it to him. That's basically all that happened. They wound up giving it to him because he sure enough, if you look by the numbers and everything else, he sure enough didn't win it. So that's on that's on the voters wanting to vote, not wanting to give it to Lamar Jackson. That's exactly what
Uh,
it is.
Alex, what do you think? In your opinion, did they get it right or did they get it wrong? And remember, you got to see Tyler Olix at some point this week coming up.
Oh man, I would have to agree. It felt like Mahomes. This wasn't a Mahomes year. The team did great, and again, they probably was like, we done gave it to Lamar twice. Let's hey, let's go ahead and give Allen one. In hopes that maybe he'll be deep in the playoffs, but he wasn't. Him and his team went to bed in the playoffs as they have um, historically done. And it was a consolation prize. Like, you're not better than Lamar, but you don't have the DNA of Mahomes. So here, we'll give you this.
Okay. I
Um,
gotta ask both of you. Saquon, why wasn't even he? Shouldn't Saquon George have been MVP? Because
The
the
sin
only
of the
thing that
early '90s.
changed on the Eagles was that he got in. George, tell me, why ain't Saquon in this conversation?
that's this in the '90s. Um, we don't. You running backs don't get it anymore. The quarterback is controls the game, and that's the quarterback is the focus. They will sit there and talk about it's the most important position on the field, and when you have one that's putting up consistent numbers, um, that's what's going to happen. But look, man, like I said, if you go and look, and nothing says this more than it was a gift. If you go and look at every statistical category, Lamar is ahead of Allen in every one of them. Part two of this, it's a regular season award. So the playoffs don't shouldn't factor into it. Part three, I hate to say it, it's voter fatigue, but at the same time, it's another fatigue. We got the great American white hope. So we gonna put it on. We're gonna let them because they haven't had it for what last 3 years. So now we went through a season where they tried to ordain Allen as the best quarterback, and here we are on the eve or the day or the last of the Super Bowl, and Allen is nowhere to be found. So that's all needs to be said.
All right. Okay. So, Hall of Fame or Hall of Very Good? Tight end Antonio Gates, cornerback Eric Allen, defensive end Jared Allen, and one of my favorites. I'm dating myself, but he was one of my favorites. Wide receiver Sterling Sharp are the newest members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame and will be inducted August 2nd in Canton, Ohio. It is the smallest class since 2005, which was also a four-member class. And in that year, Dan Marino, Steve Young, Fritz Pollard, and Benny Friedman were enshrined. Indianapolis Colt and New England Patriots hero kicker Adam Vinatieri didn't get in. Carolina Panthers linebacker Luke Kuechly didn't get in. Luke should have been a first ballot. And of course, you cannot spell elite without ELI. Mike King, Eli Manning, all in their first year, were not selected, along with several others. George, did the Hall of Fame get it right?
Um, that's a tough one for me. I know you got Sterling Sharp got the sympathy vote. He was just his window was so short. Now, don't get me wrong, Sterling was dominant in a time of dominant receivers. You had Sterling, Michael Irvin, Jerry Rice. I mean, the list was long. So from his short time, I'd say yeah. Um, I gotta What I got a problem with is you put Jared Allen in, but Darren Woodson doesn't go in, who was All Pro, first team All Pro, elite, like 5 different seasons. I don't know. I think that those who votes on it, that with all of them, it's always let's try to do the right thing, and then it turns the Hall into the Hall of Very Good. Um, and that's what winds up killing them. And the other piece is people get votes that shouldn't have votes. If I really wanted a Hall of Fame, the players' vote should count more than anybody else because they played the game. They were in the trenches with these guys, and I'm taking their thoughts on that situation way more than I am by some writers or some guys that have been adding on or whatever. That it's ridiculous. So yeah, that's where that falls, and you always I think they have started towing the line like baseball because baseball and football were both there where they kept the hall as like a sacred place. You had to be at the echelon to be in the hall. Now it's starting to get a little is very good, and and it starts to tilt in that line. So yeah, that's where I see it, and that's where I got that problem, man.
All right, Alex, you are one of our youngest panelists. So sometimes we might be old man, get off my lawn. What do you think? Is it the Hall of Fame or Hall of Very Good? Did they get it right this year?
I mean, my only thing is, who else you gonna put in? You can only put in the guys who played. So, like, who else is gonna get in? Darren Woodson played on some stacked teams. That's probably why he's not getting in when people think he should. Do people have votes that probably shouldn't? Yeah, I saw, kind of to go back to the MVP conversation, Emmanuel Acho has an MVP vote. Why? Why does Emmanuel Acho have a vote? So yes, that plays a part. But I mean, okay, Jared Allen. There's Jared Allen, Eric Allen, Gore, and Gates. Gates, I don't have a problem with Gates. Don't have a problem with Gore. You just can't stop putting people in the Hall of Fame because it's not the '90s anymore.
No,
Like the game is not going to happen. It's people. The game is going to continue to get played. There are going to be some guys who were very good who were in it, but there's some guys who are already in it who were just very good. Art Monk's in the Hall of Fame, and I'm a Command Scan fan, but like Art Monk didn't change the game. Like everyone likes to move the goalposts to fit whatever they want to say, but like Art Monk wasn't that guy. He was never that guy. So, and I know nobody bitches and complains about Art Monk. So, and I'm a fan of his. Who else in the Hall of Fame?
Only beef I got is Joe Namath because his numbers are bad, but he beat the Colts, so he got in off one game.
There you go, Steve Young. Steve Young got one Super Bowl.
Oh, Steve Young's a bad boy.
Steve Young played on a stacked team with one. Oh my God! Oh, they are killing Mahomes. Oh, they are killing Mahomes. But yeah, Steve Young played on a stacked team, a Hall of Fame team, and has one piece of hardware. So again, we got to move past the '90s. It's never going to be what it was, but there are people who are still very good at what they do, who play, who deserve to get in the Hall.
I'm gonna go I moved past the '90s when I'm talking about like Steve Young. You brought him up. Steve Young was he was already as being one of the best quarterbacks at that point in time. Plus, if you look at his numbers, he had higher completion percentage than anybody in the league, and he won an MVP. And that one Steve Young I agree with. The Art Monk one, I understand his numbers are going to say he was there, that he was going to get there, but was he game changing? No, not by any means necessary. But yeah, I'm looking Jared Allen.
But Jared Allen is a guy that the media like. He's the country guy. He has the cool celebration that they like. So yeah, it didn't surprise me.
Oh, you just said it. He's a country guy that the media likes. And when we get very good and the media likes equals Hall of Fame.
All right. Well, speaking of the Hall of Fame, next year, fellas, the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2026 could cause the same problem. So we got Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Jason Witten, Frank Gore, Philip Rivers, who has a lot of numbers.
No.
And also Dez Bryant is coming up, Marquise Pouncey. So George, in the class of 2026, do you see a first ballot Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I see those first couple you named. I mean, I can probably get down with them, but like Fitzgerald, Breeze, yeah. But then we talk about the Dez Bryants of the world. No. That's very good. See, I'm looking at dudes that either game changing, dominate, or were significant to move the culture or move the game in a way. So
you mean a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, Hall of Famer. We brought up Joe Namath. Joe Namath had like 5 good years, was the winning quarterback to make the AF, which made the NFL, because before then, the NFC was just killing them. And then on top of that, Joe Namath transformed the game. So he had some outside of it. Not his impact just wasn't on the field, it was outside of it. I can't, so I would get down with him. But then we got, the Dez Bryants and even, the Mark Wittens of the world. Watch, Witten will go in on the first one because media liked him, played for the Cowboys. His numbers are great. He was steady Eddie, and they gonna go with it. So we're gonna continue to teeter on that line of very good. It's gonna be that way.
All right, Alex, you looked at the list for 2026. In your opinion, any first ballots that you would select?
You said it was Breeze, Rivers, Fitzgerald, Pouncey. Dez not getting in.
No. He
doesn't deserve to be a Hall of Famer.
Plus, Dez caused too much trouble. He ain't getting it.
And the media didn't like Dez. Witten, I would have to look at Witten's numbers. Okay, so I'm not anti-Witten, but I got to look at Witten's numbers against Gates, Gonzalez, and the same people who he played against. Let me see his numbers.
He's up there.
Yeah, he's up there. Witten did his job.
To me, he's not a first ballot Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't put Witten in on the first bump. If we're that class, Fitzgerald and Breeze.
I gotta go Pouncey though. Pouncey gotta put Pouncey was a dog down there, and because he anchored the Steelers offensive line all the way through for the Super Bowls for a Big Ben. I'd have to give it to him.
Okay, I'll give Pouncey that. Okay, wait. Now that we're on that question, somebody lie to me and tell me Ben Roethlisberger is a Hall of Famer.
He's got 2.
He does have 2. Oh, that's right. That's great.
And not only does he have 2, he has 2 during the Brady Manning era, and he was in the AFC.
All right. So with that, fans, good time to retreat.
But that even comes up to the question why you don't let Eli in.
Okay. Yeah. All right. In segment 3, we're going to wrap up the whole season with the best, worst, and most exciting. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast. This is Dr. Keith Adams, president of the CKA Safe Project, with a question for you. Are you passionate about supporting student athletes? If so, then become an official member of the CKA Safe Project and make a difference today. With your membership, you'll be able to help us provide essential academic and athletic support to underserved communities nationwide. Join us in empowering student athletes to achieve their full potential, both on and off the field. Together, we can build a brighter future through education and sports. Visit ckasafeproject.org and choose your membership level now. $25 is a bronze level membership, $50 is a silver level membership, and $100 is a gold level membership. Be a part of the change. Become a member of the CKA Safe Project today. Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment 3. Now that it's over and the Eagles have won the Super Bowl, let's recap the entire year with the best, worst, and most surprising. We'll start off with the best. George, what was the best thing you saw all season?
It could go a whole lot of ways, but I guess begrudgingly, this is my begrudging season. I'm gonna have to go with Philadelphia, man. They came back from damn near falling apart at the end of last year.
We talked
Um,
about it.
yep, Jalen Hurts played his ass off. I don't wait. We can't second guess or talk about he ain't in that upper echelon with the quarterbacks because he knows how to win. So begrudgingly, I have to say the Eagles.
All right, I'm going to jump in this. The best thing I saw was the return of the Washington Commanders in terms of the fan base. Being in this area our entire lives, going back and forth with Skins fans, Cowboys fans, Washington football team fans, and now Commanders, because that name is going to stay. Grocery store, George, they got stuff on. You got stuff in the mall. You got kids watching football. You got Brian Bobian on the show more. Anything we could do to get Bobian on the show more, we're going to do. So the best thing I saw was just the return to relevance of the Washington Commanders. Alex, what's the best thing you saw all year?
Man, I hate to ride your coattails, but yeah, this being one of the largest markets in the league, and there's history here, but it's just been such a funk, a 25-year funk that I won't say it's all the way off, but we washed our legs. We got a little something up off us, and it feels better being able to be in the conversation of a coherent football organization. So that was the best. And behind, with the face of the resurgence being Jayden Daniels, being who he is and what he looks like, and how he looks like a lot of the people in this area. That's a big deal. And he was him. He wasn't trying to be anybody else, but he was him. He was charismatic. He was cool, and he was winning, man. He was doing what he needed to do, and the team looked good. So I would say that would definitely be the best thing.
Okay. Worst thing, George, what's the worst thing you saw all season?
Oh, let's stay in the NFC East. My Cowboys. That was the worst piece of trash I have ever seen. It started from the beginning with Jerry Jones just effing things up off the break with his smug, I can do it better than everybody else, which has cost us for the last 20 some odd years. And it just continues. I mean, how do you go a whole off season and not sign significant free agents? How do you let the people go get away and that you already had on the team? How do you not sign Derrick Henry when he was trying to be on the damn team? The Cowboys, the Jerry Jones was the worst. Was the absolute. Jerry Jones was the worst. I just put it there.
All right. For me, the worst thing that I saw all year was the debacle of the New York Jets. You had a guy come late, leave early, like a guidance counselor. Sorry about that. Who really wasn't invested. You had the team not invested. You're firing coaches. You're firing GMs. The Ambassador Johnson. I wish Mike Connors was here to go on one of his rants, but that just wasn't a cohesive organization, and now they're just gutting the fish. So that was the worst thing I saw all year. Alex, what's the worst thing you saw all year?
The worst thing I saw all year was the inconsistency from the refereeing. Horrible this year. It was one guy gets one call, the other guy gets another call. It felt like every week there was something that was really blatantly egregious. So I would say that. I would say just poor consistency with the referee. If it's gonna be bad all the time. Be good all the time. But don't up and down me.
Keep you swinging and low swinging fruit right there. with the Aaron Rodgers joke. Because God,
Oh,
that was pitiful. But go ahead, go
that
ahead.
was pitiful.
Yeah, that could have been the worst thing too.
Yeah.
That definitely could have been up in the running.
All right. So George, what's the most surprising thing you saw all season?
Y'all talking about it is the best thing. Jaden Daniels in the Commanders, Redskins, Commanders, whatever you want to call. Seeing that kid come out because I personally had questions about him and them keeping him upright
All
and
legit. All legit.
in his frame and him being able to take the pounding. He's smart. He came in. He was prepared. He did what he needed to do to be a great quarterback in the league. And yeah, he brought the city. He brought the community. He brought the whole franchise back. He put them back on their back, and because they did it with a lot of the same dudes that have been there. So I get hats off to him. That was the biggest surprise, and great job to him.
All right. So for me, the most surprising thing, you had the answers to the test, but John Harbaugh still didn't give the ball in the postseason to Derrick Henry until he blew up. I'm still George. He's got Derrick at 16 carries, and the game is on the line. And I am so surprised that you got Derrick Henry. There's no way. I think I remember saying in the chat, there's no way he can mess this up. Yep, he messed that up. So I'm surprised that John Harbaugh just didn't, as Will said, read the script. Okay, Eagles said, hey, we're going to get the ball and Saquon get out of the way. Yeah, Derrick King, he's called King Henry. He's not called mediocre Henry. He's not called Duke Henry. He's called King Henry. And you're like, nah, let's give it to the tight end. Yeah, that's me. Alex, what's the most surprising thing you saw this season?
I'm gonna be honest. This stomping I'm looking at right now. This team, this Patrick Mahomes led team, has been able to. At first, they were just they were punishing everybody, and now where it was all him. But to watch this team really just get mollywopped like this on in the Super Bowl, that's crazy. I didn't expect that. I think everybody, if you watch football enough, the Eagles have the more talented roster, probably by more than a little bit. But I think I would have expected a closer game. But no, they got completely handled, and I think that the Chiefs are going to have to spend money, and they've gotten away from a lot. They've been able to sneak by without. They gave the one person money who needed money. Like, all right, we'll give it to him, and we'll give it to Jones, and Kelsey. We're gonna give Kelsey his bread. But now it's like, all right, the window is shut. You're gonna have to get some more horses for him. Now, the window's not shut, shut. But now, okay, not like that. Whoa. But the gap is closed. He ain't just he'd have been, 3 Super Bowls. That's a lot more football than everyone else. He's human, and now it's like, all right, you're gonna have to do something.
All right, so they will have to spend some money in the offseason. I agree with that. All right, so that was fun. And now, as we continue on with the NFL, it's 52 weeks out of the year. We'll be starting with our off-season conversations as we reset and reload. So on behalf of our cavalcade of stars, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast, and we'll see you on the sidelines. Until next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches Podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches Podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches Podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.